All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL video. Going to be getting into the first look here for week 9 already. Going to be touching on my favorite plays, the lineup process that I'm looking at, and some potential core plays that we can be on for this week. But first, let's start off with a quick recap from last week. So here's a lineup that I ended up on and posted in the 9 to 5 write-up. If you guys aren't familiar with the 9 to 5 write-up, I post that on the 9 to 5 website, 9to5sports.com, about 2 hours before lineup lock. You know, the biggest thing with my content, with my tools, it's all designed to really not waste your time. Fantasy without the fluff is what I always like to say. And so, yeah, I'm not going to really post that earlier, but I'm going to wait until we have all the information on the slate, you know, more clear, concise thoughts that I'm presenting to you guys, and then that you guys are also getting to as well. I know people want the content. That's really not kind of my style, especially when it comes to a write-up where I want to be clear, concise. These are the plays. This is where we're going at. And so far this year, we've been able to cash 5 out of 8 times just using that build. Now, the one thing that did suck about last week is that I did have Jordan Love listed as a core play. I just really liked his price tag. Obviously got injured. He was well on his way to having a good game. You give him the stats that even Malik Willis had, and he does have a good game. The other quarterbacks that I was on, though, obviously all had good games as well. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix. So good stuff there. And heck, if you even just ran out the chalk build that I recommended using the 9 to 5 lineup builder, you also had yourself a pretty darn good slate as well. So, 2 for 2 there. Very good stuff there. My favorite GPP build ended up doing pretty well as well. Unfortunately, the running backs did not do much, but Tillman, Chase, McMillan all did pretty well. David Njoku didn't really need to end up being on him, but obviously stacked that with Jameis Winston. So all good stuff there last week. Hopefully we can have another good week like that this week. But when we look at the pricing on the slate, it does make this slate much more difficult, especially at the running back position, because we have a ton of quality running back plays. Saquon Barkley gets a great spot there going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do think we're going to want to go out of our way to be targeting him. He's had, obviously a great season thus far, but I think last week having that really good game against the Bengals is really going to make me want to go out of my way to target him. The issue that we have with him is that we also have Kyren Williams looking like a great play as well, in a great spot going against Seattle. And he's something that's kind of just lather, rinse, repeat. The slight issue that I have with Kyren Williams is mostly that we're probably going to be looking at some form of Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua as well in the slate, but he's going to be someone I think we should be going out of our way to target. Alvin Kamara actually I think gets a bump this week with Taysom Hill being back. I know that sounds weird, but there's weird players in offenses that kind of help the offense, right? Most, I would say, for Miami, Christian Watson for the Green Bay Packers, just kind of weird players like that are actually really low-key important for the offense. I think Taysom Hill falls under that as well, and it's no surprise that we saw Alvin Kamara kind of go back to the norm last week. He's going to be a phenomenal play. Bijan Robinson's in a good spot. I feel like he's more of a, if you can fit him into your builds, as the last player into your builds, I'm kind of happy to go with that route. I do really like Tony Pollard this week, guys. Tony Pollard's going to be in another good spot. Touchdown equity is a little capped, I would say, especially with Mason Rudolph at quarterback. The Patriots have been defeatable via the run game. Now, I haven't watched the Jets game just yet, so I'm not going to be able to tell you guys really how Breece Hall looked, if that was more of just the Jets offense not looking good, or maybe Breece Hall having a poor game. Braylon Allen was able to get some work in as well. But Tony Pollard has looked good, and he continued to look good last week. Even in a game in which the Tennessee Titans were playing from behind, Tony Pollard still had himself a very good game, very close to getting that 100-yard bonus as well. It's another good matchup for Tony Pollard. Really love the price tag and really love the snaps that he's getting. Do want to call out that if Tajay Spears is back, I would kind of negate that point a little bit there, to the point where we maybe wouldn't need to be going out of our way to target Tony Pollard. Devon Achane is going to be, a solid option again, I think, this week. That offense really just went back to the norm last week, and so I think Devon Achane is going to be chalk. He's going to be chalk for a good reason. Maybe he's more of a GPP-only play if he was more expensive, but he's not. So obviously we should be going out of our way to target him. And then one more running back play that I want to mention is going to be DeAndre Swift. So Swift to me is really just the lowest priced, really good running back play that we can get, playing about 70 to 80% of the snaps, going to get around 20 opportunities probably in this game against Arizona. Arizona's been a sneaky good team randomly each week, so maybe the Bears' offensive struggles kind of continue from last week. We will see, but that's kind of the issue that we have, is I do think Swift is a great play as well, but maybe his upside is not as high as Barkley, Kyren Williams, and even Devon Achane. So for the receivers that we're going to want to play on this slate as well, CeeDee Lamb's going to be in a good spot against Atlanta. I'm perfectly happy to get to him. AJ Brown's in a good spot. Devonta Smith is in a good spot. But for me, I do want to just go back to Puka Nacua. He should end up playing even more snaps in this game. Ended up with 9 targets, 7 receptions, and 100 receiving yards. That's the Puka Nacua that we know and love. That's the Puka Nacua that we expected this season. And so I'm happy to go back to Puka Nacua at that price tag. And you're already going to see that this slate is going to become more difficult because we have so many elite plays, especially plays that are priced up a little bit as well. That's going to make the slate a little bit more difficult. Now, a play that I don't mind is going to be Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley finally got the featured work that he's been begging for. 15 targets, 10 catches, 143 receiving yards in that game. I do expect it to be a little bit more of a difficult matchup there going against New England, but I don't hate him as a play. I think the natural route that a lot of people are going to want to go is going to be to get to Courtland Sutton. And the issue that I have with that is just, it's basically been like almost every other week for Courtland Sutton, and this is the off week. I don't like those narratives, but there's something weird going on there. But Baltimore's defense has looked pretty poor, so I'm happy to get to Courtland Sutton. Obviously the receiver number 1 in that offense. I think he's looked great. Jacoby Myers in a good spot. Xavier Legette could be someone we're looking at. We're going to get a lot of potential value here, though, for a couple of spots here, and I want to start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they could literally be without their top 3 receivers. Naturally, we're going to want to get to Evan Ingram. Don't get me wrong, that's going to be the easy move. But Parker Washington instantly, because it's probably one of the best values that we've had all season. So Parker Washington ended up having a pretty good game against the Packers last week with them all getting banged up. Parker Washington is someone that has continuously impressed throughout the preseason last year and this year. Gets a lot of hype out of camp. He's been able to return a touchdown return a punt or kickoff, for a touchdown. He's just a solid player. Is he elite? No, but I did put out a tweet 2 weeks ago now saying that I thought maybe the Kansas City Chiefs should try to trade for Christian Kirk and really just give Parker Washington a good look. And now we're going to get that opportunity. He's going to be one of the better values that we have on the slate. And so we are probably going to have to chase some value, obviously. Do I want to get to anyone else there? Probably not. I mean, Tim Jones can be okay, but I don't think we need to go there. But there's going to be another spot that we can get to as well, potentially for some really good value as well. And that's going to be with the Carolina Panthers. Xavier Legette got a decent amount of work. Deontay Johnson could potentially be traded. He's currently questionable. It seems like he might be getting the Devontae Adams treatment where, you probably just sit out anyways if he's a little bit banged up, don't want to risk it if he's going to get traded. And so that could lead to a lot of snaps for Jalen Coker, who is also someone that really popped throughout the preseason and preseason camp as well. We're getting to the portion of the season where these players are going to start to pop up a little bit more. That's really the whole point of why we play preseason NFL DFS. So he's someone that had 6 targets in that game, 4 receptions. I did make a mental note of this. I don't know if I shared it with you guys. I thought I did. I thought I kind of mentioned that, like, if he has a good game, especially against Denver, that's something we should be paying attention to. I think I said that. I don't know if it was on this channel or the prompts channel. But regardless, I still needed to see the amount of snaps that he played. I'm assuming it's like 60%. But regardless, at this price tag, he's going to be someone that we should be looking at as well. Now, I want to go ahead and jump into the quarterbacks. Quarterback-wise, to me right now, there's a few options. Jalen Hurts, if you guys are paying up for him, sure, I'm happy to do that. Kirk Cousins, still going to be a quality GPP kind of only type play where you're playing him and maybe not playing Bijan Robinson. I've recommended that the last 3 weeks. Still going to be okay with that process. But it's going to be Bo Nix. I think everyone's going to be playing Bo Nix this week. It's just, I don't know, guys. I did watch this and that film from the Panthers, and I still don't think he looked great, honestly. But he's putting up numbers. It's like Blake Bortles, but with hope is kind of what I've been calling it, where and it's not even like garbage time, but just like, you're probably getting away with some, or maybe even Mitchell Trubisky, but with hope, where you're getting away with some, poor throws here and there. But the good thing for Bo Nix is that when plays have been there to be made, he has been making them in a lot of situations, not exactly last week, but rushing the football, has been able to create something out of nothing a bunch. I took last week's performance more as Sean Payton performance there, honestly, where Bo Nix ends up with 4 total touchdowns. Couldn't give one to Javonte there. But no, he's going to be a quality play. I'm happy to get to him as well. But really, guys, I want to call out, it's not a good matchup, but I do want to call out the Carolina Panthers, whether it's Andy Dalton starting or whether it's Bryce Young. This is strange. This should not be happening to get a starting quarterback at a very cheap price tag that, don't get me wrong, that game's going to be ugly. We probably don't need to go crazy with it, but let's just say they throw a touchdown. If they throw a touchdown, they have a really good chance to at least be able to 5X. Bryce Young was able to do that last week as well. Bryce Young is someone that can rush the football, so definitely interesting. And we could have it like a sneaky, ugly stack here with like Bryce Young and Jalen Coker if that's the route that you guys want to go. But I did want to call that out because that is certainly interesting to me, that pricing that we're getting. And then let's go ahead and get into tight ends. Tight ends, there's going to be a lot of decent plays, I will say, but I don't know if I exactly want to pay up at tight end because I do think the route that we want to go probably this week is to pay up at the running back position, thus leaving us capped at what we can do at the tight end position. Brock Bowers still going to be in a good spot. David Njoku's still in a good spot. I think Evan Ingram still is going to be a fine play, even though it gets a difficult matchup there going against the Chicago Bears. Tucker Kraft, always, guys. I'm just going to continue to roster him in some capacity. It is a much more difficult matchup this week for him as well. But continues to make me look good. Thank you, buddy. From there, I do like the idea of getting to Taysom Hill, especially GPP-wise. We want our exposure to Taysom Hill a decent amount. Got a lot of work last week again. A total of 4 opportunities. Ended up with 6 fantasy points. If he knocks in a touchdown, that's a really good game for him. And at that price tag, he's just worth the GPP upside that he presents. And then for me, I know we've been doing this a decent amount here with the Panthers, but Tommy Tremble was back and was the starter. Cheapest play, really under 3K that I'm happy to get to right now. That could change throughout the week, but for now, I'm just going to put him in there as a value tight end play that I want to play. DST-wise, we would have to slightly adjust this build, but I was really just trying to give you guys, a starting point for all your lineups. Feel pretty good about this, honestly, but DST-wise, typically I don't think it matters. Typically, I just like to play the lowest price defense that I think won't go negative. But again, that's more as the week progresses. Maybe there's some spots that open up where some players are injured, creating really, really strong value for us in terms of a DST. And so just again, Bryce Young, we're not trying to get a lot of production out of him. It'd be great. We know it's capped, but we for the sake of this first build, I'll show you guys DST wise. This opens up a lot more of what we can do. Let's just go ahead and put in. I don't know. I don't really care, honestly. Pats D, no. I do like the Chargers the most. Just Jameis Winston did throw a lot of poor throws that, probably should have been picked off. We had a classic Jameis Winston experience. Let's go from Tommy Tremble a little bit if we can. Yeah, no need to, I guess. We'll stick with Tremble. So that's going to be the first build, guys. Typically speaking, I would do the 9-to-5 lineup builder for you guys as well. It's Monday when I'm recording this video. I wanted to get out a little bit earlier to you guys. And so we won't be able to do that. Maybe I'll do that in another video throughout the week as well. That's going to be all for this video, guys. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help out a lot. I appreciate you guys being here. Good luck with your lineups for week 9. Crazy that we're already here. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment of your favorite play. If there's something you disagreed with, that's fine. Put it in the comment section as well. If there's something that you really agreed with that you think we should really hammer, let us know as well. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.